I'm the local government commissioner, and I also have responsibility for shelter on the island. Currently, the number of communities that were impacted, we have listed as critical communities. We have Sansové, Piditsufria, Good Hope, Jubic, Pichelin, Pilit Savan, Koliho, Kulibistri, and there are others that are not that critical, but a number of communities were impacted. Currently, we have shelters at the Dominica Grammar School. Total, as of yesterday afternoon, 103, mainly evacuees from Pilit Savan community. We also have 25 residents at the Roseau Youth Center. As time goes by, there are a number of dynamics taking place in the shelters. So these people were also at the grammar school. So to make more space and to make them a little more comfortable, and also in the effort to ensure that we can resume school, there's a process on to free up schools. And so 25 residents are also at the Roseau Youth Center. In other areas, we can talk about in Koliho, we are in Koliho now, and we have 20 persons living with families. They're not in a designated shelter, but they are living with families. And in Kulibistri, in Wanrachet, there are 10 persons at the Wanrachet Community Center. In the Grand Bay Community Center, we have about 73 persons, and at the Grand Bay Youth Center, another 34. There are other persons from Pilit Savan across different parts of Dominica. There are 16 persons at Stowe, in Stowe Village, and in Grand Bay proper as well, we have 16 persons living with families. And in the Roseau area, we have persons from Pilit Savan in Loubier, in Wallhouse. So there's basically the Dominican public, they have responded, and they try their best to accommodate the persons who had this hit. So I was talking about the Grand Bay Community Center earlier on, where we have mostly residents from the Jubic area. They were also evacuated because the river actually just spread, overflowed banks on both sides. So the majority of Jubic persons are at the community center in Grand Bay, and some are living with families and friends elsewhere. So these are the largest groups. So the Jubic at Grand Bay Community Center and the grammar school, these are the two largest groups. The Paradise Valley persons who suffered losses are at the primary school, the Baptist Primary School. That's where they are. We have 32 persons there, sorry. In the shelters, yeah, there are some teething issues, but concerns which we are addressing, and we're doing our very best. The people are fed, thanks to the donor agencies, the regional community organizations and international, as well as the local merchants and individuals, NGO community, who have been providing supplies. The Dominica Red Cross and others have been providing necessary supplies, food items and clothing items for sleeping and so on. There are still concerns of additional stuff that we need in some of the shelters, for example, pots and pans and things like that for cooking, and also additional sleeping material. There's a need for additional pampers for babies as well as the elderly. But generally things are falling into place at the shelters. Of all the shelters on island, none were designed as emergency shelters. So we are using schools, we are using public buildings, schools, community centers, churches, private homes, and so on. To ensure that the people are more comfortable where they are, we've taken the decision to open another shelter at Mount Carmel in Mont Daniel, where a number of elderly persons are being cared for. All in an effort as well to ensure that we can get space at the school so that school can resume. So there are a number of persons spread out at this time. Our count yesterday as of persons in shelters, and with something like 366. We need to ensure that we have on record that our friends and families in the Boetica and Dalis communities that are isolated from each other and also cut off from the rest of the country, we really need to ensure that we provide the encouragement, and our prayers are with them. And also we have persons in the Bagatelle, Pointe Point Carib area that was very heavily impacted by the river. In that area alone, the persons there lost about 11 houses. So persons, we had 40 persons in shelters, but people have gone back to their homes.
Well, the Ministry of Social Services is responsible for the shelters of individuals who are displaced, as well as the welfare and the provision of supplies at the community level in collaboration with the Food and Supplies Committee. And so today we had the opportunity to be granted some assistance, some supplies from the staff of the Caribbean Development Bank. And we were very happy that the bank itself, the institution, they matched the amount that was raised by the staff. And so we went to the community of Back Estate, Paradise Valley, to donate some supplies. We also went to the shelter at the Dominica Grammar School, where we know the people of Petite Savanne are located at present. And we decided to come to Collyhoo to give some supplies to the community of Collyhoo. And of course I wanted to have a first-hand view, because sometimes you sit on committees and you sign documents, but you want to really see what it is that has happened to the people. And my hat goes out to them. My staff has been impacted, especially we have about 9 members of staff of the local government department that were impacted. We lost 1 member of staff in Petite Savanne, and our heart goes out to the people of Petite Savanne and to his family. We ourselves are in a grieving period, but we have to do what we have to do, and so the recovery has begun, and we are trying our best to ensure that we serve the communities and the people for whom we are supposed to be responsible for. So far it's quite a bit of work, but we are trying our best and we are getting there, I think. With the cooperation of everybody, I think people understand the situation. It's not only one community that is impacted. There are a number of communities impacted across Dominica, and so it will take a little time. Some communities are still not accessible, as you are aware of, and so we still have to get supplies to these communities.